will not rest, agrees with us, and denies Kathy Black a superintendent's waiver, a chancellor's waiver because of her lack of credentials. And that's why we're here today. Mayor Bloomberg, we say no to Kathy Black.
No. It's systemic racism. Good morning, my name is Assemblymember Inez Barron, and I'm here today not only as a legislator in the State Assembly, but as a person who worked with the New York City Board of Education for 36 years in various positions ranging from classroom teacher, teacher trainer, math lab teacher, superintendent's assistant, on to a principal, which is a position from which I retired.
Well qualified.
Thank you. It is astounding that we're here again with a mayor who wants to have a person who has no idea of who Gardner, Frere, Gattegno, probably not even John Dewey is in terms of the pedagogy of instruction to lead a system of our children. The present Chancellor, Joel Klein, said that creative thinking can't happen if children can't read. What? Creative thinking can't happen if children can't read? That's from the mind of a person who doesn't understand that creative thinking precedes reading. Okay? Children who can't read are certainly functioning from a creative basis from the time that they're exploring the world. That's from a person who led a system talking about we're having creative chaos because he sat over the reorganization of 4 different systems of the Board of Education during his tenure. That's from a person who wasn't able to maintain superintendents of curriculum, deputy superintendents, because they saw that when they brought their background of education to him, he didn't understand that education is not a business related to dollar signs and moving people around, but it is a business of raising children's creative thinking and their ability to perform. We've already had a mess here, which we certainly are now just beginning to understand in terms of how things were fudged to make them look good. Children, they are saying, have increased graduation rates. As a council member said, yes, children can graduate when they're not required to sit in a classroom and to dialogue and to bring forth the results of a year's worth of work, but can be given a project to do over the weekend, so that then when they apply to the community colleges and graduate and 4-year colleges, they are placed in remedial classes. What is the problem? There's something wrong with that. You've increased the number of graduates, but these graduates are not able to perform on a basic level. We looked at a chancellor who did not realize, wait a minute, these test data scores are not paralleling the NAEP scores. There's a disconnect here. There's something wrong. Let's find out what the problem is. No, they were very happy to be able to say, oh, look at the scores going up, up, up. The scores were going up because you were lowering the bar so that anyone could pass. When you don't have a person who understands that education is a holistic process that looks at children in all of their capacities and takes their strengths and helps them to develop, then you get a system where scores are supposedly going up, but they're not in legitimate fashion going up, and you get children who are unable to perform, to function, to be able to come at a level of what's going on in the communities, and to be able to realize their own potential. So we're saying that we're no longer going to allow the state to run have a person run our system who is not qualified, who doesn't understand that when you don't look at getting the resources to those schools that you say are at risk, when you don't give them the smart boards, when you don't give them the computers and a functioning library to be able to meet the challenges of being able to be competent, you're going to get the same kind of results. When you get someone who wants to close schools based on criteria which you now present at the end of the year and say you did not meet them, rather than have them say, well, here is what we call the annual yearly progress, which the state has established, and this is what you need to conform to. It's totally at the chancellor's discretion now as to which schools he wants to close. Thankfully, we had a group of people committed to fighting against that and preventing those schools from being closed. That same group of people is going to continue to wage the fight. We're going to be in Albany. We're going to be sending letters. We're going to be protesting. We can no longer have a person who does not have a clue about what they would see should they walk into a classroom to be able to evaluate the classroom, the children's functioning, and the teacher. We're no longer going to allow that type of person to head the system that affects our children. Thank you.
Mr.
In the words of my late mom, who was a school activist and activist parent, it is a sin and a shame.
Sin and a shame.
Hey, right. Here we are in November of the school year. Chancellor Klein leaves. I mean, I don't know if you've ever been inside the school system when the leadership leaves in November. The system is leaderless at a crucial time of the year. And then the dictator,
say it,
under the system of narrow control,
say it,
we have a dictator who is running a school system.
That's right.
Anybody with half of a thought of human relations would have called together a panel of people from across the city and said, I'm in a dilemma. Who should we appoint? Chancellor Klein is leaving. Who should we appoint? Nah, he decides in the privacy of his secret search that he should appoint Miss Black. Now, I don't know Miss Black. I have nothing against her. But I do know that when Bloomberg and Klein came in the early 2000s, when they were given control of the schools, people over 60 were being run out of the schools.
That's true.
People over 60 were being told to retire, that they were out of touch.
That's right.
The new chancellor to be is 66. What is it when Bloomberg decides somebody's in touch? They're okay, but everybody else is not okay? It's the same thing he did with the term limits, remember?
Right.
We need 3 terms, 4 terms, no term limit. Oh, 2 terms, term limit, you see? So we have got to take action to protect our interests at this stage. Our interest is the 1.1 billion children attending the New York City public schools. And so we've got to take whatever action is necessary. As the late brother Malcolm X used to say, if we go to jail, so what? Living in New York City in the year 2010 is like being in jail.
That's right.
Thank you.
Now we're going to hear from 2 parents, Ms. Simmons and then Ms. Yola Fulani, and then we're going to hear from the Freedom Party Bob Law.
My name is Joy Simmons, and I'm a parent of a New York City public school student. And I would like to say that this is an outrage.
That's right.
It is an outrage. It is insulting, and it is a slap in the face and disrespectful for Michael Bloomberg to attempt to put someone in a position who does not